Hello, I hope you're all amazing. So this week's video is going to be on something I've personally been working in my own program at the moment. So for me, I've been working on volume. So I did notice that my eyes around here, being the thinner skin, and there's very little oil glands in there, so they don't absorb my nutrition that well. So I have to work a little bit harder. So when I use my home roller, I bring it right up into the eye, right over the lid. And when I use my DF mobile, I also pulse all in here. But what I noticed is the lids were getting a bit droopy and I was getting a bit of expression through here at rest. Didn't like that, wanted to change that. I also noticed my capillaries just needed a little bit more help with strengthening not only the vitamins inside the capillary wall. They're very elastic, so they get stretch from circulatory things. I love to exercise, so once that blood's pumping through there, it stretches a bit. And then the corrosion of all the artificial lights, direct lights and oxygen, they're all depleting the antioxidants out of there. So I wanted to rebuild that and just create more sponginess. So I've sort of started to notice now my skin's got a lot more volume. So when I tap my finger along here, it's really bouncy, which is really exciting because it's not easy to change these things. It does take a bit of work. And I also wanted to start getting more volume up in my forehead. So let's just talk about why we lose volume, and then let's talk about the process in rebuilding it. So when we're born perfect, and our skin structure is really nice and bouncy because it's got all this beautiful hyaluronic acid, so water jelly between the cells, the collagen elastin factory is functioning. Everything's great, but then we expose it to light and we corrode. Like any element, metal corrodes from the environment. We notice darker cars, they lose their color because it magnifies the sun and the sun corrodes it. So our skin isn't that different. That's why we know the lighter the skin, the quicker it corrodes, or the quicker they lose their vitamin A. So we want to know that our skin also compresses or compounds. What does that mean? That means the actual structure is thinning. Yeah. So we've got, if you take the skin into two separate structures, you've got the epidermis, which is the dying layers, and the dermis, which is the living layers. So the dermis is compounding. The dermis is where your capillaries live. So if you've got light skin like me and you have a tendency where your capillaries are very noticeable, mine used to be, they're less noticeable now because of all the needling and work I've done, those capillaries will live in this layer. So that layer gets more compressed. Unfortunately, the dead skin gets a little bit thick and rough, and then this is what we call photoaging. So then that stops your vitamins getting in because it's all compressed. So when you put your vitamins on, it's just sitting on top. So when you come in and see me, I'm gonna improve that by sort of changing the structure. So from here, I want to make it like this, so things are going to penetrate through. There's no point using heaps of active ingredients and it's just stuck in there. That's why I use tools. My home roller, my DF mobile treatment, they're all tools to improve that separation, which is actually how you were born. Children's skin can go on the highest dose of vitamin A, C, and E. I don't have to start them on low doses and slowly introduce them because their skin's functioning optimally. Isn't that cool? But when your skin isn't, then we have to rebuild and we have to meet the skin where it's at. And the great news, the sooner, the better. The longer you leave it, the more work you're gonna have to do to reclaim it. So that's a little bit of motivation for you. However, that being said, what we wanna know is that that structure is compounding, which means all the capillaries and the pigmentation damage in here is gonna become more noticeable. That's why at different ages, our skin changes. At 30, the metabolism of our skin halves. The rate our skin divides from the base layer to the top layer has halved, which isn't good because then it's taking longer to remove the damage in the skin. And what happens is as our skin, because often we don't know to put the antioxidants back on the skin, we usually don't do anything, or we trial things, or we put chemical sunscreens and we do things that just stress the skin out more and deplete the vitamins quicker. The problem with that is then the skin is more sensitive and it's more reactive, and then more problems hit. So what we want to do is thicken it. And for me, I've been doing a course of needling every single year for many, many years now. And that changes the anatomy and structure of the skin. And it wakes up the phytoblast cells that makes my skin rebuild collagen, rebuild elastin, and rebuild that natural fillers inside the skin. But I also work very cleverly with vitamins. So topically, I'm using key vitamins and using tools to push them in. And lately I've been using the filler treatment as well. So I've been pulsing that in with a medical probe, and that's really starting to show off. And I'm really, really happy with that result. And I'm really happy with what I'm seeing in the clinic as well. So it's definitely a solution to really turn back the clock and really make that skin more bulletproof to its environment. So that's exciting. And there is 2 ways we can do it. There's one way we can do it in the clinic, and online programming clients. I've got a little plan for you guys as well. So ask me questions if that's something you want to start looking at. So what our goal is to simply get more nutrition in the skin that is actually stimulating the cells that are making that natural water jelly and filler, and also stimulating the factory that makes collagen and elastin. Internally, I definitely am taking some key ingredients to support my collagen and elastin. One is collagen, another is essential fatty acids, vitamin A, and an array of antioxidants. Now, we corrode from free radicals. So that's oxygen pollution, all forms of light, right? So we just need to make sure the topical antioxidants are really, you're constantly working on building that. And I've seen a really good result with using peptides with antioxidants, because especially like the new night serum, that is a love of mine, because it has this ability to make all your vitamin A's more effective in the skin. And it also relaxes the muscles. So it's a neuropeptide, so it's just relaxing that movement in the skin. But because a lot of people's minds are really busy with the state of the world right now, they got a lot of inflammation through the nerve ending. So the brain's overthinking, and then the nerves all in the skin. You're really rich in nerves in this face. It actually is affected by the brain, and it causes inflammation to pump into the skin, and that can show up in rosacea, eczema, rashes, acne, and reddening. So we want to kind of block that. So every night I put on 2 pumps of the night serum on a clean skin, and then I'll use the probe to pulse things in with it, and sometimes I'll add some other key things. So that's your recipe is key in changing this, but I think the combination between the medical needling and then having a really clever home care, don't underestimate what you can achieve. It's not about short term, it's about making long-term results. And as we age, if you think your skin is compounding, why not reverse that? Thicken it. Improve the delivery, get more vitamins deeper into the skin, and the skin has its own metabolism. It will speed it all up. It has its own immune system. It will feed and nourish that. So as cells are dividing, because they're dividing slower as we get older, when they got defects in them, the immune system and the antioxidants can just actually go in and heal it before it becomes things like cancers and so forth, which is why we know having a really vitamin A dense tissue reverses or removes any chance of getting skin cancers. But the problem is a lot of us don't know that till we sort of already the damage is done. And now we spend our time trying to basically give enough antioxidants so it doesn't become dangerous in the skin. So the immune system has an ability to delete that cell instead of letting it flourish, which is what we don't want. So antioxidants are key. I think Dr. Des said if he put enough antioxidants in a product that he actually wanted, it would be thick as an icing on a cake and no one would put it on. So that's why I get you guys to cocktail different antioxidants together, and we rotate them depending on the season and depending on your personal lifestyle. So we're always shocking the skin and using the antioxidants cleverly and at optimal doses. So we're getting that physical change. We're not maintaining, we're actually correcting years of damage. Okay, so all about thickening the skin. Have a beautiful day, beautiful week. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.